everyone. Welcome to Alphawisdom. I'm Mystic Cassandria. And this week we are covering analysis of famous people. We'll start today with Oprah Winfrey. Very famous lady, well liked, well loved. And I want to point out that this is not a recent photo. And the analysis is based on this particular photo that was taken approximately 15 years ago. I do not know whether Oprah is left-handed for an active hand or right-handed. I have heard left hand. The photo shows left hand. So that's the one that's being read. So follow along. I'm incorporating as many of the things that we have talked about and I think you're very familiar with. So let's get started. Okay. All right, as we look at this one, we can see the left hand, and I've pointed out some things for you. All right. Overall, this is an earth hand that Oprah has, and it's a square palm. The fingers are shorter in comparison. And just as a review, she's practical, reliable, steady, productive, private-seeking regularity in routine, income, and deadlines. So that sums up her general makeup, okay? It's a plain palm with well-defined lines. She has a lifeline, a headline, heart line. Fate line is a little thin in comparison to the other lines. They are strong. I'd say the dominating one is the lifeline, and that's important because we're talking about family and health. Okay, so let's talk just briefly about the lifeline. It starts high and then it swings over wide. So we could say she's outgoing and she has a high start in life because the lifeline starts high. And it is a sign of an ambitious personality who tries to lift themselves up to attain their goals. She is a very competitive personality. Okay, going on, we have a large gap between the headline and the lifeline, all right, from the start of the headline. This indicates an adventurous and highly ambitious person. If this is her active hand, it always indicates someone who is highly inspirational, ambitious, and open-minded, and non-traditional in their ideas. This is a person who moves both psychologically and physically, far from their roots and upbringing. And if you are familiar with her story, because she's very open, that holds very much the same. Let's look at the headline. Now, the headline runs straight, and it stopped somewhere just about at the beginning of the Mercury finger or the little finger. Okay, she thinks logically with a strong focus on facts and proving a point by demonstrating it with statistics and data. This indicates excellence in numbers and facts. I can believe that because she's certainly right, open to the public, open to the world. This could tend to objectify whatever the focus is, but she's logical, factual, and precise. There is a wish to be unflappable and unemotional in her responses and can be considered shrewd and even cunning when necessary. There is awareness of the facts and possible outcomes before she acts. And that's important for anybody that is in the media field. Let's take a look at her hotline. Okay. The hotline is strong. There is some disruption in the energy at the early age, I'd say up to age 25, but it clears out. Okay. There's a branch of the heart line curving upward. You see there? Curves upward toward the index finger. And this is a romantic, upbeat sign showing optimism and high expectations in relationships. Now, the remainder of the heart line is not as strong. It appears weak and it goes straight. So the emphasis is always on the stronger of the two. And this certainly is that ambitious. Of course it is, because it's headed toward Jupiter. That's the index finger. Speaking of the index finger, um, she doesn't have a long one in comparison to the ring, as indicated by the line here, okay? But just for your information, if it's a long index finger, it gives you an added sense of confidence to pioneer projects. But the short finger, index finger, stimulates you in proving to the world just how effective you can be on a large scale. And that is applied to anyone with a shorter finger. Now, something else she has here in connection with the finger. The little finger is low set. You see how this dips way low? And the beginning of the third flange is equal to the bottom end of the ring finger. That's considered low set. This suggests that one parent, and it's usually the father, is emotionally or physically absent during childhood. Now that can happen. It happens a lot. So if you have that, that's the reason. Okay, let's take a look finally at the fate line. Here it is. Structure, life path, direction. That's what it means. Duties, work, regimen, and responsibility. This fate line started at about age 10 and continues on to about age 34. So something happens around that time where she changes. It starts light, thin, but it's headed right toward Jupiter. So this implies successful, or success is on, you're running into that, you're going toward that. It begins in the lunar mount, and this indicates a need or desire to move away from family control. This shows service orientation and her choice. That was her choice to go that route. Okay? It marks a personality who prioritizes social connections, personal fulfillment, and adaptability. Usually, this line marks a work pattern that constantly evolves and changes, and that's quite accurate in reference to her life. Finally, you'll notice that the thumb is low. The fingers are together, and I'm not clear as to whether that's naturally the way she holds them or that's how it is for a photo. Maybe she didn't want a photo taken. I don't know. Okay. All right. But when it's this low, all right, that means, I'm talking about the thumb, that means this person is flexible. You see the curve, flexible thumb. And the drop so low of the thumb indicates generosity. Generosity. If you have a thumb that can go down that far or maybe lower, be careful if it's lower, because then you're kind of gullible. You're approaching that point. You're too kind. All right. And then people start to take advantage. All right. But she's a very generous person. Okay. Also, the angle from here up to there would come about right in here, certainly above this point. So that covers, that's a short one, but in reference to timing, that's what we're going to stop with. So we will have another famous person on our next reading. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you understood it and you remembered some of the things we have talked about in class. All right. Well, thank you for watching. And by all means, give a thumbs up, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you again, and be happy, love, and light.